Hi, good morning everyone. Hope all are doing well. First of all, I extend my thanks to Wisdom About Society India to given me an opportunity to present my paper. Myself Sanjay Kumar Mishra, I am going to present my paper on topic impact of post-COVID-19 Indian economic growth, globalization and the way ahead with my co-author Mr. Devansh S. Mishra from BITS Pilani, Rajasthan and Ms. Neelam Sharma. COVID 19 shook the world in aspect like never before. It has been close to 7 odd months since the outbreak of the contagious disease was recorded in Wuhan, China. It was not long when the outbreak turned into a global pandemic, passing the epidemic stage in a jiffy. Since then, a lot has changed. We lost lives at an alarming rate like never in past 1 century. Existing international relations and trust were broken while new developed. The clashes over cultural and socio-political issues seems to less relevant when the question was of our lives. The impossible work from home became a necessity and proved to be different from some. Children started learning within the four walls of their rooms, leaving the traditional classroom and uniform culture behind. It's fair enough to say that the world that we are seeing today or will be seeing in the future will certainly be different from the one we left when we were forced to lock ourselves down in our homes. India is currently passing through the tough phase when it comes to tackling and controlling the spread of virus. It's war that India needs win because the road after the present ample opportunity for the Indian economy and society pursue. The paper aims to bring a quantitative viewpoint to opportunity for the post-COVID-19 India supported by facts and figures. India is one country that has tried to avoid the crisis into an opportunity. The action to stand in solidarity with the several nations across the world by supplying solution and essential chemical has improved international relations of the country immensely. All this comes when the world collectively hold a grudge against China for allegedly hiding details about COVID-19, where still a lot remain behind to be uncovered. These rising global uncertainties with the Chinese and India global image might surprisingly bring an array of opportunity to post the pandemic. Needless to say, India has been able to successfully maintain the impression of a country that has huge human potential and resources at competitive labor rates waiting to be harnessed. With several American, European, and Japanese manufacturers who intend to relocate their factories out of China or at least have alternate sources in geographically diverse locations, India stands a fair chance to be behind. As far as the international relations, the India reference, by 2019, there was no doubt in anybody's mind that India stood an international stage as a nation that influenced international relations. To add to that, on lighter note of the soft power features like yoga, Bollywood also elevated India's status as an influencer versus being influenced. The United States reached out to India and five other countries recently to kick-start a discussion on how to move the global economy forward in the wake of COVID-19 and to find ways to cut dependence on China. Israel, Brazil, Australia, Japan, South Korea were part of the digital conference and several countries will be actively involved before the decision making. Many of these countries share close trade and commercial link with the China. Recently, they will be going to be converted with our country. The pharmaceutical and chemical export to several nations during the COVID-19 further made the strategic ties and international relations better for our country. If nothing concrete, but all these actions show that India is on the way to make a positive impact with its tie across the globe and can gain economically with amending its policies for the best. The economic impact of COVID-19 in a global poll conducted by a Edelman Trust Barometer, around 60% of people of the 13.2 thousand sample group voted that saving lives should be the utmost priority of the Indian government, even it is at the cost of economy. But economy and livelihood go hand in hand after a point of time and cannot be ignored. COVID 19 had a huge disruptive economic impact on the Indian economy, where India growth in fourth quarter of the fiscal year 2020 went down by 3.1% according to the Ministry of Statistics. Within a month into the lockdown, unemployment rates rose from 6.7% to the 26%. Goods exports shrank by 35% and shipment fall over 16 billion. So means these data shows that there is a huge unexpected dip is there recorded, but the manufacturing sector output fell by about 20%, with the worst effect being the automotive sector recording a huge decline of about 50%, and electronic product sector falling by about almost 42%. Supply chain have been put under stress with the lockdown restrictions in place. Initially, there was a lack of clarity in streamlining with an essential was and what is not. Now the government action, India has efficiently started on a plan to boost the exports once the country emerges from the shockless of COVID-19. The major plan includes steps like cutting down import dependence, especially from China, and simultaneously focusing on immediate substitution by improving on the safety, compliance and quality goods to gain global market share. The Indian government has already reached out to several national leaders to diversify export, and the one more plan that is the recently been launched by our Honorable Prime Minister Mr. PM Modi, Mr. Narendra Damodar Das Modi. The Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan stimulus package announced in May make the government action plan of making India self-reliant. The government should take a step to ramp up domestic manufacturing capabilities and find ways to encourage more FDI. A good start for the same could be provide incentive and encourage more FDI. A good start for the same could be to provide incentive and encourage multinational corporations to set base in India, like Japan is illegally incentivizing home-based companies to not put up institution in China. As a result, if the card fall in place, the government's plan to position India a global leader post-pandemic with strong positive international relation could be very possible. The economic package base of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan was announced as 20 lakh crore, which is 10% of our country GDP. The package included previous RBI announcement of around 8 lakh crore to provide more liquidity. The economic package also included the finance minister announcement in March, a package totaling 1,70,000 crore. So, and land reforms, the state level tough not mentioned directly in economic package are also part of the package. In it, entire operation out of China in India, while several reports have added that more thousand firms are in active discussions with the government of India to set their production plant in the country. Though China has been the world factory for the past several years because of its cheap labor and FDI-led manufacturing exports, the switch seems plausible now. The World Bank data suggests that China had a 14 trillion GDP growth in 2018, an increase of over 2 trillion as compared to the 2017. But the recent event from China shipment have been denied entry into US ports make things uncertain. Now, the some sector that stand a great chance for the for country point of view. As per the reports, medical, textile, electronics, plastics, toys are some sector whose exports can be promoted first, while gems and jewelry, pharmaceutical and steel can be targeted then after. The geographical issues faced by some country who are not willing to put all their eggs in one basket, China, India could look at sectors that can improve capacity and reduce cost simultaneously, especially as the world agriculture produce from China with cautions. This is where Indian can score. As part of the Atmanirbhar scheme, a slew of incentive for the agriculture sector and allied activities have been announced, which will help in building cold chains and post-harvest management infrastructure. Uh, our rupees 10,000 crore scheme will help formalize micro food industries. Fund have been allocated for dairy processing, herbal cultivation, and beekeeper. India is a big exporter of rice, tea, meat, milk products, honey, horticulture, and organic products also, which will have to overcome the COVID-19 challenge. Post-COVID countries are looking towards India for processed food, marine produce, meat, fruits and vegetable, tea, rice and other cereals as they are apprehensive to import edible product from China. The Indian Cellular and Electronics Association, Mr. Pankaj Mohindro reportedly mentioned that there is an enormous opportunity in building the sector in India as an additional export base. India has not been able to stand its ground in export market. In 2000, its share in the global export of clothing was 3%, while Bangladesh and Vietnam have relatively lower shares. However, in 2018, while Bangladesh, Vietnam had increased by 6.4% and 6.2%, respectively, India's share increased to only 5.8%, which is possible and showing the good raise in future after post-COVID-19. The challenges: simply opening of the sector or the economy and inviting foreign investors will not be enough until a conducive and favorable business environment that enable foreign firms to manufacture at a competitive cost and use abundant resources like manpower is created. We need market reforms such as rationalizing punitive land acquisition clauses and multiple labor laws, both at the center and state level. It is time to speed up work on the four labor codes on industrial relations at a central level. The government should augment the work on infrastructure, logistics, trade facilitation so that trade and transition costs crucial for FDI firms and reduce. The need of the hour is to also to redesign the revamp of SAG's PPZ's policy for better performance. So ultimately, I'm going to conclude very shortly. The paper has tried to bring to the focus the present status of India in light concerning COVID-19. India had started on a fair note to control the pandemic spread, but with time, several Indian states and the healthcare system are failing to get out of the shackles of COVID-19. The government has taken a step and ensured to move on a positive path when it's come to international relations with several countries and shown solidarity in times of need. The steps have shown that India is just not a country that fits the image it was associated with for decades, but has a positive impact on global actions. The government aims to strengthen domestic production in country and has announced several policies, schemes and economic packages to add certainty to the action. There are several challenges in the road ahead economy and with the policies that the country ahead, and it would require active interferences of the government to maintain the right balance between managing the interest of the international multinational companies, domestic trader and farmer. The journey ahead certainly puts India as one of the global leaders, but in the present time frame when the research paper is being drafted, the biggest challenge that stands in the way is coming out of the pandemic. Human capital has been one of the key strengths of the country, and perceiving it is of utmost importance. Thank you. Thanks everyone.